Hello and welcome back to International Yankee English. We post videos on academic and business English topics for advanced learners, sometimes some general English as well. So please make sure to check out the channel further and see if you like our content and consider subscribing. And for today, we are going to talk about how to successfully write a business English email. I'm going to start by giving you my top 3 tips, and then I will show you guys some phrases and terms that you can use when you are writing your business English email. So if that sounds good to you, give this video a like and keep watching. Okay, as previously mentioned, I'm going to start by giving my top 3 general tips to writing a successful business English email. So tip number 1, keep it short. You want to make sure that you don't include all of the possible information that your reader needs, because then you will likely end up writing pages and pages or 500 words on a topic that your reader likely doesn't have time to read. If this is a business English email, it is likely on a topic that it does need some further attention. There needs to be some kind of action taken. So you want to make sure that you get to that point and that you're clear about what you want and you explain yourself, but you need to do it as short as possible. Most business people receive hundreds of emails on a daily basis or at least on a weekly basis, and along with their other tasks that they have to do in the workplace, they have to get through these emails and respond to them and act on them. So they can't sit there just reading emails that are pages and pages long all day long. That's too much. So you want to make sure that you keep it short. If you don't and you send a long email, one of 3 things is going to happen. Number 1, they probably will mark it for later and then go back to it and then respond to you a bit later, which is actually a pretty good situation if that happens. Number 2, they do that, but if they do that for everybody who sends them long emails, it's not going to have a response or action taken on it until much later, probably at a point when it's too late and no longer relevant to you, the sender of the email, anyway. So it was wasted time for you, wasted time for the recipient of the email, wasted time for everybody. Or they simply never get back to it. They put it in a to-do folder, or they just leave it in their inbox and don't touch it, and then they get too busy and ultimately don't get back to it or realize that it's too late to get back to the email in the first place. So keep your emails short and to the point. Tip number 2 is related somewhat to tip number 1, and that is to be specific. So obviously, if you're being specific and getting to your point and making your message clear, you're not going to do that by writing pages and pages. You're going to keep it short and to the point. But also you can keep it short and be completely unclear about what it is you want from the person. So don't simply send a couple of thoughts to the person that you are contacting. Be very specific about what it is you are asking of them. What is it that you expect them to do or to write back to you once they have read your email? It needs to be clear. For example, if you're trying to set up a meeting with them on a certain topic, give them, say that you would like to schedule a meeting with them, and then give them a specific time frame or give them a couple of days and times that work for you and ask them if any of those days and times work for them. Make it easy for them to give you an answer that actually does what you need it to do. So if you say something like, we really haven't gone through our inventory recently, and we need to go through our inventory and check that pretty soon, because otherwise we can run into some problems down the road. Let's say you send that email to a colleague or to a subordinate or whatever. What do you expect them to say from that? Do you want them to come up with the days and times for the meeting? What is it that you expect from them? They may think that you are responsible for doing the inventory for yourself, so they may respond with saying, yeah, go ahead, put that in your schedule and come back to me once you've done that. Or maybe they think, okay, well, that's not part of my job description, so I'm not going to answer this email. Or maybe they will say something like, yeah, we really should. And then no action is taken. So be specific, tell them what it is you want, what is your goal. Your goal is to set up a day and time to do the inventory with that colleague. give them some possible days and times that you can do it, and then say looking forward to hearing from you, right? And then follow up with them if they haven't responded within a reasonable time frame. Of course, don't expect that people are sitting around just refreshing their email, waiting to see if they have any meeting requests, because that's not reasonable. What you can also do is, if you have access to their calendar, if you work in the same company as the person, you can look at what is their general availability and then send them a meeting request for a time that looks like it would be suitable for both of you, and then say that and then ask them for alternative times if it's not suitable for them. But of course, you can't do this when you're sending many business emails that are to external employees or to businesses, or when you're requesting some information about a product from a company, or trying to set up a meeting or something like that. Of course, you can't see their calendars quite as easily, and I would consider that a bit rude to simply send a meeting invite via Office 365 to somebody you haven't met before, unless they have applied for a job and they are requesting an invite for something. That's a different situation. But making sure that you're direct and clear about what you want and how you expect the person to respond to the email is really important. And tip number 3 is to mind your words. So everybody knows that there is a difference between written and spoken English, that spoken English is more informal than business or written English is, but you want to make sure that you are using appropriate terminology in your email, that you're not using any kind of slang. I do advise that you use the person's last name if you haven't met them before, dear Ms. or Mr. last name instead of their first name. Of course, there will be cultural differences when it comes to this, but I always say it's safer to err on the side of caution and respect rather than friendliness. And also make sure that when you write the email that you're not only using clear sentences and avoiding slang, but that you also show a basic understanding of the terminology for the industry. So if you are writing at something that is about within the retail industry, you want to be able to use the words that are specific to that industry if you are writing something about that industry to the person. So if there are general terms that you may use with your friend from school that also could describe the industry specific term, then that's okay. But when you're actually writing to somebody within the business, try to use the correct terminology if you know the correct terminology. Okay guys, those were my top 3 tips. Just to summarize, keep it short and clear, be specific, mind your words. And now I'm going to show you guys a few phrases and terms and just some basic information about the layout of the email, the subject line, etc. So I hope you found this first part useful and that you will also enjoy the second part of this video. If you are enjoying it so far, please give this video a like and consider subscribing. Okay, let's look now at some phrases and structure tips for writing a business English email. This is not an expansive list, this is just a brief overview to get you started. Here are some common sense tips to start with. Make sure you are using a professional email address. Your name at gmail.com is completely fine. Lil Red Roostar at AOL.com, not so much. Double check that you have an appropriate email address before you send a business English email. Fill in the subject line with a suitable short phrase. For example, inventory meeting request. This should be short and to the point and include the main idea of your email. And be sure when you write an email to somebody that you use their name if you know it. And you should really make sure that you do everything you can to find out what their name is to make it more personal. Let's start with the greeting. Knowing who you are addressing is important in order to be polite and to use their last name when you say dear Mr. or Mrs. That is the formal, correct, polite way to start an email. If you really don't have their name, you can use to whom it may concern. However, this is a bit impersonal and stuffy and should only be used when necessary. If you are sending a semi-formal email, you can simply say hello and then the first name of the person who is receiving the email, Or if it is a group of people, you can say hi everyone or dear all. Now please note there are, of course, different cultural differences regarding greetings at the start of an email. For example, I used to always say hi guys when I started an email that I considered semi-formal within my internal organization. However, I did come to find out that some people within my organization found that unprofessional, so I decided to change my greeting to dear all or hi everyone instead. The structure of your email. You should make sure that the most important information comes first in your email so that they know what they're getting themselves into. If the person does not know who you are when you send the email, then make sure to give a brief introduction of who you are and why you are writing them. Keep your sentences and paragraphs short and clearly separate one from the other. This way, the email can be read easily and the recipient can do a quick scan to find the most important information that they need and decide whether they need to respond to it right away or not, and how they should respond to it. Making requests. Here are a couple of phrases that you can use in order to make a request in your email. Most of the times when we send a business email, we are asking for some form of action. So for example, I would be grateful if you could give your response on this report by the end of the day. Or we would be grateful if you could let us know if you are interested in this proposal. Or we would appreciate it if you could give your opinion on the matter. A little bit less formal, you could say, can or could you please? Do make sure to use hedging, which is language that is not as direct as let us know. Instead, you can change that to say, could you please let us know? Referring to previous correspondence. Here are some phrases that you could use. With reference to, re, regarding, in regards to, as previously discussed, per our conversation, as previously discussed, or as previously mentioned. There are plenty more phrases that you could use in your email instead of these, but here is just a starting point for you that you can use if you're not sure how to refer to previous correspondence. It is always a good idea to include a polite phrase that refers to previous correspondence if the person you're emailing has ignored some of your past emails or if they clearly have not read the emails very well. Asking for confirmation. Could you please confirm your availability? Does this work for you? Could you let me know your available days and times? I would be grateful if you could let me know by the end of the week. So here in the last bullet point, giving a specific date, but also saying that you would be grateful if they could meet that deadline that you have given is a polite but firm way that you can ask for really a confirmation and an answer from the person. Invite questions. So here are some phrases that you can put towards the end of your email so that if the email is unclear or the recipient needs some further information, they know that they can feel comfortable enough to send you an email asking for that. For example, do not hesitate to contact me if, and then you could follow that up with you have any questions, you need more information, if something is unclear, etc. Please feel free to contact me. That is a very friendly, semi-formal way that you could invite questions. Or the last one, let me know if you have any questions or concerns. This one is a bit friendlier than some of the others, and it starts to give a feeling of really two-way communication between the two recipients, where they don't feel like they are obliged to ask any questions, but they can let you know and they are welcome to email you at any time. Now for closing, you can use any of these phrases, kind regards, regards, or sincerely. Per my experience in Europe, kind regards or regards are widely used. Sincerely is widely used in the United States, and best wishes is a little bit less formal and a bit more informal. Okay guys, that is it for today's video. I really hope that you feel more confident now as you approach writing a business English email. And if you have any questions about how to do this, please leave me a comment below and I will do my best to respond within a timely manner. Thank you guys, have a great day, and I'll see you at the next video. Bye-bye!